What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Hey, what's good? What's good? What's good, Eagles fans? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Always grateful to be in the presence of the beautiful people. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We're going to have a very fun show today. A very, very fun show. And I have a surprise for you guys. I have a surprise for you guys coming on in about, I want to say maybe 20 minutes or so. I have a special guest coming on. Not going to reveal who it is yet. I want it to be a surprise. And I'm really, really excited about this. Really, really excited. Can't wait for this guy to come on. It's going to be his first time coming on Chalk It Up Sports. But until then, make sure you guys, once again, smash that like button. Make sure you guys are engaged. So here's the goal for today, you guys. Let's try to get to 200 likes today. That's our goal. I know yesterday the goal may have been a bit overzealous during the stream. So let's get to 200 likes and let's get to 300 likes after this thing ends. All right. So this goes out to all my people who are not only listening live, this also goes out to my people who are watching or listening after the fact. Maybe you can't catch me live. That's totally okay. I want you guys to exercise your right and lock in on not only Spotify, not only Apple Podcasts, but you guys can also catch up on YouTube. So you guys have many options to catch the content, but just make sure you guys support. Hit that like button. Make sure you guys also give me a good review. Give me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It goes without saying. So just make sure you guys continue to stay locked in. It means a lot to me. Hey, you guys, give me 1 second. I want to turn off this fan. Making my eyes water. Give me 3 seconds. All right, there we go. Boom, done. Had to turn off that fan. If you got allergies like me, sometimes the wind blowing in your eyes can get you a little off kilter. But nonetheless, we're going to have some fun today, you guys. And before our guest comes on, I want to tap into a topic with you guys that I've been thinking about over the past couple of days. And it's kind of on brand for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's on brand for the Eagles fan, right? And here's the thing. I think it's important that we lean into who we are. I think it's important as Eagles fans that we lean into who we are. And I also think it's important that the Eagles as a team lean into who they are. You see, throughout this entire season, it's appeared as if the Philadelphia Eagles were regularly getting the shit into the stick. Let's just call it what it is. It seemed like the Philadelphia Eagles were a team that always had to fight extra hard just to get their respect or just to get the bare minimum, right? There's always been an asterisk next to anything the Philadelphia Eagles do. It doesn't matter who they beat. It doesn't matter how successful they were. It doesn't matter how dominant they were. There's always seemed to be an asterisk next to anything the Philadelphia Eagles do. And to get even more specific, there's always been an asterisk next to what Jalen Hurts does. Right? Look, I don't think any of us would come on here and say Jalen Hurts is Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. Those guys are the upper echelon of this thing. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and then there's everybody else. I don't think we would confuse our guy with those guys. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how dynamic your play is. At the end of the day, you have to win. And I think organizations are always on this wild goose chase, or they're always chasing this ghost, right? And what I mean by that is it seems like most organizations are always searching for their Patrick Mahomes, their Josh Allen, their Lamar Jackson. And sure, you want that. But the law of averages says that's not something that's attainable. So what's important is for you to find a guy that you trust, that you know can win you football games, that you know has intangibles, that you know has traits that you can build around, that you can pour into. And I believe that's who Jalen Hurts is and who he's been for the Philadelphia Eagles. And Jalen Hurts has had the opportunity to prove that he can ball at the highest level against anybody, a la 2022 when he made it to a Super Bowl. But also throughout his career, he's proven that he's been able to be a perennial playoff quarterback, a quarterback that can get you there, a quarterback that's going to win you double-digit games every single season, a quarterback that's going to win his division. Jalen Hurts, since Jalen Hurts has been a starter, and that's 4 seasons, he's won his division 2 times out of the 4. And we know it's always competitive in the NFC East. There's no repeat winners. We know how that goes. That's the same trend for the past 20 plus years, right? Obviously, we're looking to break that trend. But regardless, Jalen Hurts has proven that he's the guy that you can win with, that you can trust. He's going to always make the right play. He's not going to hurt you. He's not going to hold you back, whatever it may be. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. He's proven that. But time and time again, there's an asterisk put next to what he does because it doesn't look sexy, because it doesn't look the way people expect it to look. Last time I checked, there's more than one way to play this game. Last time I checked, there's more than one way to get the job done. Last time I checked, when you open Google Maps and you type in your destination, they give you about 3 or 4 routes. You have options. And you have some fans out there who are so quick to want to jump ship on a guy. you have guys out there, and it's mainly these fair weather fans, right? These fans in Philadelphia, these fans across the world who support the Eagles when it's convenient. But you got people out there who are so quick to try to jump ship on the quarterback because he doesn't do it the way that guy does it. Even if he puts points on the board, he doesn't turn the ball over. It doesn't look how they want it to look. And quite frankly, I think that's whack. I think that's whack. I think that's corny. Because finding a quarterback that you trust, let alone you can win with, is difficult. It's difficult. There aren't many draft class like that 2020 draft class, right? And even then, when you look at that 2020 draft class, how many quarterbacks, despite their talent, do you really trust when it matters? How many of them do you really trust? I trust Jalen Hurts. I trust Joe Burrow. I don't trust Tua. I don't trust Justin Herbert. I don't trust Jordan Love yet. Not yet. So the point I'm trying to make is when you find a guy that you know can get the job done regardless of how it looks, and he can utilize the tools around him and play smart complementary football, you have to lean into that. And it's funny because it's not like Jalen Hurts is this bad guy, this arrogant guy, this guy that's unlikable, whatever it is. He's a laid-back dude, gives back to the city any way he can. Stays out of trouble, keeps his hands and his nose clean. Has a fiance, has his bachelor's and his master's degree. One from Alabama, one from Oklahoma. Stand-up brother. Takes care of himself. Clean cut. And it seems like he still fights for the respect that anybody should rightfully get when you've led your team to the playoffs 4 years in a row and you led them to a Super Bowl berth, an NFC championship win, MVP runner-up, an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, Burt Bell Award winner. Seems like a guy like that would get more respect, but he doesn't, because it doesn't look how some people want it to look. The way I've seen people crucify Jalen Hurts for that Packers performance is almost alarming. I fully expect Jalen Hurts to be sharper, but all things considered, a guy who came off of a concussion, who missed, I want to say, three games of football, or let's just say 11 quarters of football, nearly a month of football, for a guy that missed that amount of time, not bad. Started off sharp, started off going 6 for 6, got cold in the second quarter and in the first drive of the third quarter, going 0 for 7. Then after that first drive of the third quarter, he finished the game going 7 for 8, ended up beating the Packers by double digits, 2 touchdowns. He threw 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Made plays with his legs, made plays with his arm, made the right checks at the offensive line, responded well to the blitz, was accurate in the pocket. I'm just saying, he's a guy that you should want in the building. He's a guy that you should want to root for, the underdog, the guy who's the quintessential quarterback for Philadelphia. Maybe one of the only quarterbacks in the league who can handle the pressure in this city. You see, a lot of you guys want these fancy quarterbacks, but a lot of them can't handle the pressure in this city. And you guys know this. Just because the guy's more talented doesn't mean he's mentally built for the moment here. We all know it's no easy proposition playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. We know this. We've seen guys crumble. Can you imagine Justin Herbert in Philadelphia? I don't care how much talent you put around him. Can you imagine a Justin Herbert in Philadelphia? He's mentally weak. We are a unique fan base. And we've never been liked. We've never been rooted for. We've never been supported. We're one of the most polarizing fan bases. The Eagles are one of the most polarizing organizations in football, outside of the Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots when they were at their peak. There's no team in football that commands the attention. There's no team in football that commands the level of polarization like the Eagles do. There's not a single one outside of the Cowboys, maybe. Not a single one. The Chiefs are a dynasty, and we're more polarizing than them. We're more exciting to talk about than them. So they use us. They use our team as fodder. They use us in their media circles. Hey, Jalen Hurts they're not doing this. Jalen Hurts is not doing that. Will he hold them back? So on and so forth. The conversation is exhausting, quite frankly. It's quite frankly exhausting. I think it's about time, like I said, I think it's about time we lean in. I think it's about time we lean in and lean in very closely. I'm sure you guys all know about that situation with the Eagles fan that cursed out the Packers fan, and now he lost his job and all that kind of stuff. And listen, under no circumstance do you talk to a woman like that, right? Also, I want to know what else happened, because apparently those Packers fans went to Lincoln Financial Field with the sole intention of antagonization, right? They didn't. They came to our home and didn't take their shoes off. And then when they got chastised or yelled at, they cried. And now a man has lost his job for a momentary lapse in judgment. Again, I don't condone what he did. But the way they villainized this man, not knowing the context of what happened. This guy, this Packers fan, is a content creator who started a GoFundMe so he can get to the game. Went there with a GoPro with the sole intention of antagonizing. I want to know what else happened. But regardless, that situation has even inflated the idea that Philadelphia is a crappy fan base, that Philadelphia is a crappy city, that we don't treat people well, that we're unhinged, that we're feral, that we're the villains. No one wants to see us move forward. No one wants to see us win. People are in love with the Lions right now. People are in love with the Washington Commanders right now. People are in love with the Rams right now. The Ravens, the Bills. People are in love with those teams. They're waiting for us to slip. They're waiting for us to fall off. They're waiting for us to fall off. And again, I'm not condoning his behavior. I promise you I'm not. But I don't want to know what else happened, though. I want to know what else happened. Just saying. Just out of curiosity. Release the rest of the footage. Release the rest of the footage. And again, me speaking for myself, there's no state of mind that I can be in where I would talk to a woman like that. That's just my personality. I don't disrespect women. I don't call women out of their names. I have self-respect. You feel what I'm saying? But I think it's about time we embrace being the heel, flexing. We embrace being the heel, flexing. Nina, Scotty, it's about time we embrace being the heel. It's about time we embrace being the home wrecker. It's about time we embrace being the villain. It's about time we embrace being the nightmare. Landon Dickerson said it. All these guys got dreams. Well, guess what? Let's show them what a nightmare look like. It's time to embrace the dark. It's time to embrace the villain within you. Nothing will be given. Everything will be taken. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Hide your grandmothers. Hide the elderly. Hide the sick. We only want the men on the front lines. You want to know why? Because we taking them. Everybody's head is going on a pike. We're pillaging. We're taking everything. We're conquering. Everything will be taken. Lock your doors. 1, 2, Philly's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, get a crucifix. 7, 8, you better stay up late. 9, 10, Philly's coming again. I promise you. Lean in. Y'all know the old adage. Y'all know how we do this thing. No one likes us. No one likes us. And
we do not care.
No one likes us, and we do not care. No one likes us, and we do not care. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I ain't doing, we ain't doing this for their recognition. The Eagles don't do what they do for recognition. We do this because we love them. We love the great. We love the game. We love the hustle. That's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at. Embrace the villain role. You see what they try to do to AJ Brown? You see what they trying to do to AJ Brown? Now AJ Brown is the bad guy. Now AJ Brown is trying to be a distraction, or he's a player you can't win with, or whatever it may be, right? Hey, listen. What Kendrick Lamar say? He said, beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching. Sometimes you got to pop out and show him. Sometimes you got to pop out and show him. And the thing is, as Eagles fans, we don't underestimate anybody, but we just know what we're capable of. That's the thing. We don't underestimate anybody, but we know what we're capable of. That's the thing. That's the caveat. That's the caveat right there. So, I don't want to make this thing any more than what it is, but I do not want to make this any more than what it is. But I just feel like people continue to sleep on Philadelphia. And quite frankly, they love it. They love putting an asterisk next to everything we do, especially the quarterback. They love it. They love it with a passion. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because my next guest, oh man, do I love this guy. This guy does an amazing job at what he does. I have nothing but positive things to say about this man. I've been following this guy, and then it's funny, right? You see so many Eagles fans and so many content creators out there doing their thing, but this guy just always stands out. I mean, listen, he's universally known as being the ultimate Eagles super fan. He's a Philadelphia Eagles season ticket holder. You've seen him on local news like CBS 3, Philadelphia, and Fox 29 promoting your Philadelphia Eagles, bringing that passion, bringing that energy, bringing that electricity, right? He's curated so many fan events in the city at places like Live Casino. You've seen him working with Mitchell and Ness, giving back to Eagles fans, giving away free tickets, just keeping the vibe super high in the city. Again, I love his videos on Instagram. They're hilarious. And he just does amazing work. And now I'm so glad he has like a platform to really just speak his piece. And now you can catch him on one of the fastest growing sports platforms known as PHLY via the All City Network. They're growing fast, man. I love what they do. He, along with his guys, Jay Ashworth and Black Gritty, host the Cheap Seats show. Like he said, either you on board, or rather this, either you get on board or you get out of the way. His name is Eric Emanuel, but you guys know him as E to the R to the O to the C to the K. He's none other than the infamous, the notorious E motherfucking Rock.
What's happening, big dog? How are you, babe? Listen, first and foremost, I got to thank you for having me on. And secondly, thank you for the absolute kind words on the intro, man. That was, I need you as my hype man. When I go to an event or anything like that, I need you coming up as my hype man, brother.
Man, listen, first and foremost, I'm grateful to you for taking the time out. I know I reached out super last minute. It's the playoffs. I know this is a super busy week for you, and your time is super valuable, my guy. I just want to say I'm grateful for you coming on, and I love what you do. Like I said, you're one of the most you're one of the faces of Philadelphia Eagles fandom, right? You're everywhere. I gotta ask you though, where did this begin for you? Like, it seems like it runs so deep in your bloodstream.
Yeah, back in 2007, I'm from Jersey. I live in Jersey now, but I moved to Philadelphia. Lifelong Eagles grew up at the tailgate, grew up going to games. Earliest memories of being there at Veterans Stadium for the 4th and 1 game. That's the first like true blue memory that I have regarding attending the games. But in 2007, YouTube was just starting to pop off, and I moved to Philly on this kind of like self-discovery journey, right? I moved to a city where nobody knows who I am and I don't know anybody. And if anybody in life has the opportunity to do so, I would highly recommend it. And while I was there, I don't know, I just came up with the idea of, listen, I love my birds. I love talking about the Eagles. Let me get a camera. And let me get a laptop like you got over there, and let me start just making videos about this team, this team, this game day that I love so much. Because there was an opportunity there. Like, once upon a time, if you weren't down at the lots, if you weren't down at the tailgates, if you weren't down at the games, you really didn't know what was going on. Like, everyone was watching from home, but if you were watching from home, you didn't get a taste of the authentic game day experience. So I wanted to bring that thing that I loved so much, and that what meant so much to me and my family, and how we bonded over that. Because that's what Eagles football is, right? It's not just football, it's family. It's a tradition. It's something that's passed down from generation to generation. So in 2007, I started making YouTube videos and just kept hammering away at it. And back then, it was like your social media, Eagles social media menu was like me and 4 other dudes on YouTube. Believe it or not, once upon a time, that was social media. And that turned it from YouTube to another platform and Twitter. And from that came to Instagram. And that's always been like, I'm very humbled by the words that you said in the beginning, because you nailed it on the head. I am started this, and I continue to do this to bring the authentic game day experience, and through spoken word and emotion, because we're all emotional fans, just try to relay the message and just kind of hope it resonates with people. And so far, I think it has, and I'll continue to do this until the day I die, because it's who I am.
I love that, and I relate so much to that, especially the passion part of it, right? We eat this, we sleep this, we bleed this. This is the Philadelphia Eagles are embedded in Philadelphia culture. It's not just entertainment for us. It's not just a sport to us, right? It kind of reminds me of back in the Coliseum days, like people used to go to the Coliseum and just watch the gladiators go. It's so embedded, it's so entrenched in our everyday lives. And Philly is such a blue collar place. It helps the city tick. It stimulates the economy. It's just everything about the Philadelphia Eagles just is Philadelphia, right? And the whole idea of how Philadelphia is perceived nationally, and obviously we had that knucklehead start a ruckus against the Packers fan, things of that nature. We don't condone that at all. But there's this perception, or this misconception about the Eagles fan and how we carry ourselves and how we move as a unit. I want to get your perspective on just how Eagles fans are perceived outside of Philadelphia, especially on the national front.
I've always tried to help change the narrative in the begin. I should say that in the beginning, I tried to help change the narrative of how a Philadelphia fan was perceived. And many years ago, I just kind of came to the realization, like, we're not going to change that. Follow me on this one. We're not going to change that. Realistically, we're still answering for what they did in 1968 with snowballs at Santa Claus.
Ridiculous.
So a hater is always going to be a hater. People are always going to come in to Philadelphia, especially now that everyone's got a cell phone camera, and capture. I apologize. Where someone's not acting right. A hater is always going to be a hater. So to me, the changing of how we are perceived as a fan base. Listen, we just got to take care of us. That's all that matters. And I can tell you that there has been a giant shift from Veteran Stadium to Lincoln Financial Field to where the Eagles fan base is now. And Philadelphia is a diverse city with different people and different neighborhoods and different cultures, different foods, different ethnicities, different backgrounds. And that's what makes Philly so great. Is when you walk in the city, you see those murals up, you see the artistic value, you see the music and the food and the culture and everything. Listen, when we're wearing these colors, we're all unified. When we're saying "Go Birds," we're all unified. And I promise you, it's not like that in other cities. Like, I spent the majority of my life inside a Veteran Stadium and Lincoln Financial Field in my own protective little cocoon, thinking that, okay, when they say we're the best fan base in the NFL, or we're the most passionate fan, or the most loyal, or the most craziest, yeah, okay, but we're probably tooting our own horn a little bit, because every time an NBA championship happens and they raise that trophy, they say, Milwaukee Bucks, this is for the best fans in the NBA. No, they're not. No, they're not. To raise the Stanley Cup, Tampa Bay Lightning fans, you're the best fans in the. No, they're not. No, they're not. But when I became a little bit more well-traveled about 10 years ago and started visiting cities like Baltimore, Washington, and MetLife Stadium, LA, Tampa, I mean, you name it. I was shocked to realize that, no, this is actually the truth. And we're not just gassing ourselves up, that the Philadelphia Eagles and football in general is so embedded in the culture of this city and unifies us so much. Like, it's not just hyperbole. It's not just we're not just talking for the sake of hearing ourselves talk. This is the God's honest truth.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And it's funny. We've adopted the whole adage of no one likes us and we don't care.
Yeah,
like you said, right? We got to a point where we're done trying to placate to other fan bases or the national media. We are who we are.
Yeah.
Take us how you receive us, and tuck your feelings. Because at the end of the day, when the bullets start flying, the last man standing will win, right? And before you came on, I was speaking to my supporters here on Chalk It Up Sports. I was just telling people that, listen, we're at this point now where we're likely the least supported, the least liked fan base remaining in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's about time we start leaning into this villain role or being the heel, because I think people have fatigue when it comes to us. I think people, especially on the national front, they find these very unique ways, or maybe not unique, but they find these very weird ways to pull the carpet from under what we're doing. It seems like there's never enough Jalen Hurts can do. There's never enough that this team can do to prove that they deserve to be in the position that they're in, right? When you look at this Eagles team, especially the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, who's done nothing but keep this team in the playoffs every single year.
Yeah.
When you look at Jalen Hurts and who he's been since being the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, what do you see? How have you evolved as he's evolved as a player?
Yeah, there was a point in time, and let's not revise history. There was a point in time where it was Jalen's first year as a starter and Nick's first year as a coach/play caller. And through the first 8 games of that first year, man, that was some of the worst Eagles football that I ever saw in my life. Like that was some of the most unorganized, unoriginal, and I question whether or not Nick Sirianni was a legitimate NFL head coach. I'm falling on the sword here, man. Like I'm just keeping it real. And there was a point in time where I questioned whether or not Jalen Hurts was NFL caliber quarterback. But just like you said, leaning into the heel role and kind of leaning into that villain role, here's where I'll politely disagree with you there. We don't need to lean into any perception that anybody has of us. All we
Mm,
need to do is take care of us. And if you look at Nick Sirianni, like the football team matches the city, fans match the football team. If you look at Nick Sirianni, yeah, man, that opening press conference, that was rough. Woof, that was rough.
yeah,
But my
yeah.
but my man kept at it. My man kept working hard at it. He didn't pay attention to what people said about him. He didn't pay attention to the outside noise. He just kept getting, and I know it's cliche and it sounds cliche and it is cliche, but it's a God's honest truth. Just kept getting 1% better every day. And if you look at Jalen Hurts, he had the criticism, he had the questions. I questioned him. But my man, that offseason went and got like the best quarterback guru on his own time and on his own dime and put in the work. Because he doesn't have to prove the doubters wrong. He's just got to be the best version of him that's possible. And so he kept evolving and kept working at his craft. And that's what I respect so much about Jalen because he's a winner. You're either a winner or you're not.
Mm,
And winners know that they're going to fail. Winners know that they're going to fail. And they almost like embrace the fact that they're going to fail because you can't win unless you fail. You can't get better unless you got to know what you got to work on. You can't get better unless you stumble. Nobody gets it right out of the block. Nobody. But it's the people that have that winner mentality, or as Nick would call it, again, I know it's cheesy and I know it's overplayed, but that dog mentality of saying, yeah, I failed. I take ownership. I'm struggling, but here's what I'm going to do to get better. And what you're seeing in Nick Sirianni and what you're seeing in Jalen Hurts, what you've seen in Howie Roseman and his failures that he made. That dude was locked in a broom closet, by Chip Kelly, but just kept at it. Like when you see this team, you should see a reflection of the city and the fan base that's behind it. Hard nosed. No one likes us. We don't care. We're going to keep getting better. We're bringing our lunch pail. We're blue collar. We don't pay attention to the noise. We don't pay attention to the haters. We're working on us. We're doing what we can do to make ourselves the best version of ourselves. And that's why I think, despite some hiccups along the season, Nick yelling at the fans or whatever it might be, like, listen, we got their back because we've seen the improvement. We've seen the hard work. We've seen the way this team connects, and we can relate to that.
Yeah, definitely. And going into the playoffs, right? This team coming in, 14-3. They had a 10-game winning streak. Stumbled a little bit against Washington. The Hurts got hurt,
Sure.
and he missed the remainder of the season. He comes into this Packers game, and let's just be honest, he looked like a guy that didn't play football in over a month. But I want to get your thoughts on what you saw from Jalen Hurts. A lot of people have their own perspective and their own perception of what happened or who they want to point the finger to as to why the offense has had these moments of stagnation. But I want to get your perspective, right? Tell me what you saw from Jalen Hurts and that offense, the coaching staff in general in that game against the Packers.
Listen, we're always going to keep it real, right? Not the best game from Jalen Hurts, and like you mentioned, he looked like a guy that hadn't played football in a month, which is okay. And he looked like a guy that might have been coming off of a concussion, a serious concussion, and that's okay because style points matter. Style points matter in the regular season, right? Because we want to see this team improve on what they can improve on. We want to see this team grow. We want to see this team get better. We want to see this team do better next week. This is the playoffs. There is no next week. So style points in the postseason go right out the window. Right out the window. And it's just about winning. Now, Jalen Hurts could have played a better game? Absolutely. I think that Kellen Moore could have called a better game. I didn't like necessarily the offensive game plan. If you remember when they played the Packers the first time down there in Brazil, I was giddy. I was giddy because there was
creativity.
There, you're designing plays you're designing people open. One of the major flaws of the 2023 campaign was that they were just it's too simplistic, too long developing a routes, and they were just relying on their playmakers, who are ballers, by the way, to win their matchups and win the route, which they can do. But when you throw the guy a bone, I mean, I can remember Smitty on real quick stop and goes, right? Smitty can stop, go, pivot. That dude is efficient and he can cut on a dime, right? AJ on slant routes. 9 times out of 10, AJ's going to win his route. Just chuck him the ball. He's, you know what I mean, quick, and he's going to get that yak. So what I wanted to see from the Eagles coming out of the Packers game or going into the Packers game was an offensive game plan that was going to use high percentage design plays to get guys open, high percentage throws to high percentage guys. And that didn't necessarily come to fruition, but what the Eagles proved to you is if Kellen doesn't have his best game plan, and if Jalen doesn't have his best game, rust, concussion, or otherwise, they can still find a way to win because I got that defense, right? And, special teams came up big, especially on the first opening kickoff. So they're going to find ways to win. I think going into the Rams game, you're going to see a crisper Jalen Hurts. I think you're going to see a better offensive game plan. And I think the time of possession, especially playing the Rams, is going to be critical. Because where the Rams are going to hurt you is with points. And if you're able to control that time of possession and dominate that with Dinkin and Duncan and Saquon Barkley, 2,000-yard rusher, league's rushing title holder, and should be MVP, right? That should be able to keep the ball away from the most dangerous part of the Rams, which I know they've struggled at times, but Stafford's still a guy you got to be worried about.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get into that Rams matchup with you, but you said something that reminded me of this thought that I had as it pertains to Hurts in that game and Kellen Moore. And I want to know how you feel about this aspect of it. Obviously the game plan just seemed very against the Packers, that is, it seemed very vanilla, very plain Jane, very reliant on your playmakers, like you said, to get open.
Yeah.
And is it fair to say that because your quarterback missed nearly a month of football, he didn't clear concussion protocol until much later, going into that game or going into preparing for that week? He was limited on Wednesday. Only had 2 full practices. Couldn't really watch film until he cleared phase 2 of the protocol, and we don't even know when he cleared it because the Eagles are tight-lipped about that. Is it fair to say that Kellen Moore, Sirianni, Fangio, they went into this game saying, listen, we're not going to be able to devise the most intricate game plan. Let's try to rely on our offensive line, rely on our running game, rely on our defense, and make key passes when we can and trust our playmakers to win their matchups. Is it fair to say that they pretty much delivered or executed a pretty vanilla game plan just to get through that matchup?
I think at this point in the season, listen, if this was week 3 and he was just coming back off of injury, or week 4 or whatever it might be, they might put a vanilla game plan. He's had we've been playing football all year. He knows the playbook in and out. So I don't think they, for lack of a better term, dumbed down the playbook for Jalen Hurts in this particular game or kept it simple. I just think that Kellen kind of just didn't have his best game plan. And we came out with the dub. Again, style points don't matter. We came out with the dub. But we know as these games go on and on that that's going to be a little bit more difficult, especially as the competition gets better. I don't think they held back. I think it was just a combination of a lot of things. Jalen being rusty, Jalen coming off of a concussion. And let's give the Packers some credit. I mean,
absolutely.
We whooped that ass. But go back and look at the numbers in the regular season of where their defense ranks, where our defense ranks, where their rush defense, pass defense, boom, boom, almost completely down the line, points per game. I mean, the Packers were right on the heels of the Eagles defense, which is the best defense we've seen since the 90s. I mean, let's be honest here. So the Packers are a good team. Let's not just dismiss the Packers because we whooped that ass. We whooped that ass because we're that good. But the Packers had a job to do as well, and they played it well. So, the Rams, if you look at that Vikings game, they were blitzing. Sam Darnold was a statue back there. They took advantage of that. The Rams are going to bring it, man. The Rams got a lot going on. LA's got a lot going on. Our hearts and all of us are feeling for what's going on out there. but they're
Definitely.
on a mission because they got a city behind them that's hurting, and so they're going to come in motivated. And all year Nick Sirianni's been asked, like, hey, when you play Baltimore, when you play Steelers, how did you match their physicality? How did you match their energy? And it was like, no, 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 no. They need to match ours.
Mm.
So a motivated team is gonna come into that link, but it's a West Coast team who's used to playing in the sun, who's used to playing on nice cushy turf, who's not used to the elements, who's not used to the cold, and so who certainly is not used to that crowd at Lincoln Financial Field, which is the best home field advantage in the NFL.
Absolutely. And that Rams game is going to be so fascinating because when you think about when the Eagles previously played them, Saquon Barkley played out of his mind.
Yeah, dog.
And he's been doing that all season. Let's call a spade on that. He's been easily the best running back in football. And I look at him as the X factor in this game. At this point, I'm fully secure in what the defense is going to give me. I know this defense is going to be stout. They're going to force turnovers. They're going to give the offense plenty of opportunity to to coast through this game, to a degree. But Saquon Barkley, what he brings to the table for the Philadelphia Eagles offense, in particular in this matchup against the Rams, and how things went last time, I personally have a hard time believing that, yes, even though the Rams are highly motivated, yes, they did what they did against the Vikings, but let's be honest about this, E-Rock. The Vikings offensive line isn't our offensive line. That Rams defensive line, although they're young, athletic, they're up and coming, they're talented, they just won't be able to match the size difference between what they have to face in guys like Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, Mekhi Becton. The Eagles are unique in that way that they have a combination of Pro Bowls and All Pros on that line, but they're also one of the biggest offensive lines in football. And I just have a hard time believing that for 4 quarters in the conditions that they're going to have to play in, I have a hard time believing they're going to be able to match what the Eagles are able to do in the trenches consistently.
And absolutely, that's why they're going to have to bring extra pressure. And listen, extra pressure has been the Achilles. It's part of the reason why, silently, although we're outward publicly, there's, for me at least, it was a little bit of a sigh of relief when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were eliminated because Todd Bowles.
Me too.
All right. We'll just keep that between us. Because Todd Bowles has our number, man, because he knows how to blitz this Eagles offense. Now, when I was watching the Rams game, man, I'm picking up on, and they were very diverse with their blitz packages. DT, DN stunts, corner blitzes, linebacker blitzes, faking the blitz, and then dropping back, and a guy that you don't expect is coming. And you can expect, listen, the Rams aren't dumb. They know they're going to have to formulate that same sort of game plan and know that, okay, in the past, if anything, Jalen Hurts has struggled with that kind of diverse array of pressures from all angles, right? But all the more reason why I'm sitting here saying the offensive game plan needs to design to get people open, and the ball needs to get out of his hands quickly. Because that blitz is coming. Now, part of me also feels like maybe the Rams in that emotional game having to go through all the adversity that they had to go through just to get to the game, put on the game and paint the field and get the players there, that they might have tipped their hand a little bit as far as what blitz packages they like. And believe me, right now, Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni are dissecting those blitz packages, and I hope they're coming up with beaters for all those different things because I think they showed a lot on film. Mm-hmm. And also, too, if the Rams think that Jalen's just going to sit there like a statue like Sam Darnold and get scared, no, man, that man will hurt you with his legs. So they better come correct. The Eagle, I don't want to sleep on the Rams. I agree with you in the fact that, like, listen, on paper, I don't see any way the Rams show me where they're better. And you're at the link, and you're in the weather, and the West Coast, a short week, and all that. And hey, listen, any given Sunday, you can win or lose the game. But I think I think the Eagles are a better team, and the Rams got a hell of a challenge, not only in the team, but the city that they're playing in, the stadium that they're playing in, and playing in front of those fans. Man, it's going to be a rough day for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Eric, I know I only got you for maybe like a few more minutes. I've got another question or two for you.
You got it.
Yeah, once again, thank you for locking in with me. I really do
You
appreciate it.
got it.
Eagles,
You got it.
Eagles fans, make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. You guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I'm joined by my guy, E-Rock, the ultimate Eagles fan, ultimate Eagles content creator.
Thank
So
you.
I gotta ask you about this Eagles defense, right? I want to dive a little deeper into it, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
this Eagles defense is very interesting. They're the youngest defense in football.
Mm-hmm.
They're led by one of the most seasoned football minds to ever do it in Vic Fangio.
Mm-hmm.
And we know where this defense was last season. And we see what they've emerged and evolved into this season. There's been so many guys who's played well above their billing, right? Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Zach Bond, right? You brought back CJ, GJ. The Georgia boys are starting to really come into their own, right? Even a guy from Houston Christian and Jalen Hunt makes an impact, right? Nolan Smith has turned into a legit pass rusher. I want to get your thoughts on just how dominant this defense has been, and can this defense, I don't want to use the word carry, but is it fair to say that this defense is better than the 2022 defense and can be the reason why we win the Super Bowl?
Uh, to walk backwards, can they be the reason that they win the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Are they more dominant than the 2022 defense? Absolutely. You mentioned my guy Nolan Smith, who again talking about Jalen and Nick, and that dog mentality. Are getting 1% better. I mean, in the beginning of the season, preseason, we're like, if it wasn't for Jeff and Jalen Carter, this guy would have been, our Mike Mamula, our generation's Mike Mamula, where he was a combine wonder, and all of a sudden this dude can't rush the passer, or is an average rusher, can't see the field. To all of a sudden working, dude, he's working, and he's developing that pass rush and getting better. So I got to give a shout out to him. But when you take a look at this defense, you got the architect of all the defenses that we've tried to copy over the years. We've tried to get the disciples. Well, just get defense Jesus. You know what I mean? Just get the guy who invented it. And you got to give a lot of credit to the players that have stepped up, the Jalen Carters, the Jalen Hunts, the Josh Sweat on a bounce back year. Zach Bond, dude. Like Zach, if you're a New Orleans Saints fan, you got to be sick to your stomach. You mean to tell me that this entire time we've been sitting on an all pro, and we had him play special teams and never paid him any mind whatsoever? When you take a look at the Howie and the draft picks that he made at the corners, Slay's still getting it done. CJ, man, emotional leader of the team. That's why no part of this team, I promise you this, no part of this team needs to carry the other. When you hear Jalen Hurts talk about complimentary football, all right, that's like a buzzword, complimentary football. What even is that? It's the fact that this team, when you look at other playoffs teams, certain aspects of their team need to carry the other aspect, right? Uh, their pass defense is good, their run defense is bad. Their passing game is good, their run's bad. They can run the ball, they really can't pass the ball. Oh, it's Josh Allen with really no weapons. He's got it. That's not this Philadelphia Eagles team. It's such a well-rounded team as far as talent across all phases of the game that I don't think the defense needs to carry anybody. I just think the defense needs to be the defense. And the run game of Saquon needs to be run game of Saquon. And Jalen Hurts needs to be Jalen Hurts. And AJ and Smitty, the best duo receivers in the NFL. You want to throw Goddard in there, the best trio of passing weapons in the NFL. Everybody just needs to do their effing job. That's it. That's all it is. And it's that simple. That will lead us to a Super Bowl.
E-Rock, thank you so much for spending time with me this afternoon, my man. You're one of the busiest guys in the city when it comes to curating these fan experiences.
I appreciate that, man.
Four Eagles fans, and again, you've done so much work around the city, working with the Philadelphia Eagles directly. CBS 3, Fox 29, Mitchell and Ness. I mean, you're literally one of the faces of the city in this sports market, my friend. So please, where are you going to be on game day? Please promote anything you got going on. Tell the people where they can find you, how they can support you, how they can interact and immerse themselves in these fan experiences that you curate.
Yeah, and listen, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about that, and thank you for reminding me. So this Saturday, you all know I'm a big Mitchell and Ness fan. I'm a big Kelly Green fan. and I spend way too much money in that store. But a lot of the times, when especially during these playoffs, a lot of people are flying in, right? They don't know where to go and they don't know where to meet up. So last Saturday we had a playoff pep rally at Live Casino. 120 people showed up. We had an absolute ball. This Saturday at Mitchell and Ness, I'll be there from 12 to 3. Um, and just hanging out, man. Just helping people. It's going to be a cold one, so they got all the winter jackets. You know what I mean? I got a lot of people flying in from Florida. I got a lot of people flying in from Texas, California. They don't have winter clothes, so you know what I mean. We're going to be there, get the fit right, the game day fit right. And then Saturday night, it's on my Instagram, erock_Eagles. I'm hosting a cruise on the Spirit of Philadelphia right there. I'm DJing it. My buddies over at I haven't even announced this yet, so you got the exclusive on this. My buddies over at Noggin Boss, who make those giant ass hats that like Gilly wears, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They're not cheap either, man. They're over $100 a pop. So Noggin Boss is sending me a bunch of those big hats. We're gonna have a Gilly the Kid dance off to blow the whistle. And the top 3 get themselves a Noggin Boss hat, just like Gilly, right? So we're gonna have a lot of fun on that boat. Bunch of Eagles fans. At that point, we'll know kind of whether or not we're going to Detroit or going to Washington. We're gonna celebrate either way. And then on Sunday, Sunday's tough, man. I'm just bouncing around. I'm tailgate hopping. I get a lot of questions like, "Where are you going to be?" I don't know where I'm going to be 5 minutes from when I get there. So I bounce around a lot. I got tickets to the Smooth Tailgate at Xfinity Live. My friends over at Philly Sports Trips are hosting an awesome tailgate to give back to the Eagles Autism Foundation, which I'm heavily involved with.
Awesome.
Over there in Jet Row Lot, so you can get tickets to that one as well. My boys over at 4th and John and G2. So like anybody traveling into the city and doesn't really know the game day experience, my recommendation is always just walk around, man, soak it in, take a couple laps, tailgates all over the place. If you're wearing green, hey, people will be chucking you beers, have fun, eat some food, soak in the entire game day experience, because there is really no place that I'd rather be than down in the parking lots and at Lincoln Financial Field on game day.
E-Rock, there's no place like home, my friend.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm super grateful that you were able to take the time on my guy.
You got it, bud.
Congratulations to you and all your success, everything that you've been able to bring to the fan base, everything that you've been able to bring to the city and give back to the people. We're grateful for it, and trust and believe.
That's
man.
What it's all about, man. That's what I'm saying. And I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate the fact that like you get it, like you
definitely
specifically,
born and raised, man.
You get it. It. So I appreciate
my DNA.
That.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. E-Rock, my friend, thank you. You take care. If possible, I would love to bring you on this channel again whenever you're free, my man. We have an open door policy here. Anything you want to promote at any point, just let me know, or I'll tap in with you. Whatever happens first, but just know you have a home here. Chalk It Up Sports, my friend. You take care, all right?
All right, take care. Go Birds.
All right, go Birds, man. Shout out to E-Rock. That was a good one, you guys. That was a good one. Shout out to E-Rock, man. E-Rock this is my first time actually talking to him, by the way, right? We text back and forth to try to set this up. And what's so dope about E-Rock is I hit him up, I want to say a couple days ago, and he got back to me right away. Right away. It wasn't he was just so cool about it. You know what I mean? He was like, "Oh hell yeah, bro! Let's do Thursday at this time. If you can do it, and just let me know beforehand, and we're good." Like he was just so down to earth about it, man. He was just so dope about it. Made himself available to me rather quickly. It's a lot of people out here that look, they're busy and they may not get back to you right away. I reached out to him on short notice, and he fit me into his busy schedule, man. So I'm really grateful to E-Rock, and I'm also grateful to what he brings to the table, what he brings to the Philadelphia Eagles fan base. So once again, shout out to E-Rock, shout out to everything he does and how he pours into the fan base, man. I really do appreciate him. And I appreciate you guys as well for making E-Rock welcome on this platform here at Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game, make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. It goes without saying that like button is currency in this YouTube space. The content doesn't move without the like button. So as of right now, we have over 100 likes, which is awesome. We have 188 people tuned into the live stream. So make sure you guys continue to smash that like button, whether you're listening live or you're listening after the fact, right, on your own time. Maybe you only got time to come in and vibe with us for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Just make sure you hit that like button before you go. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening on Spotify, thank you guys so much for supporting me on that side of things. But also don't hesitate to lock in on the YouTube side. I know the Spotify and Apple side is so dope because it allows you to be hands-free and you can listen on your own time. And I feel you on that, man. Sometimes I'm busy doing things and I need my hands free. I want to lock my phone, put it in my pocket, and I can still listen to the show, listen to the podcast in my ears. So I wanted to make sure I provided you guys with that experience as well. But just know that the YouTube side is definitely available to you guys as well. Make sure you continue to stay active. Smash that like button. Give me a 5-star rating. Give me a good review on Apple and Spotify. And it's straight like that, you guys. And I appreciate you guys for donating to the channel. I want to get to these super chats. You guys have been awesome. And shout out to my man, Scotty. Scotty is really, really pouring into the network, and I'm really grateful for him. I'm grateful for Trey Brown. Thank you, B Mills, AJ Jones. Let's get to these super chats. So Scotty with the super chats, he says, turn this into the villain they wanted us to be. I don't care if they get yards. Make them feel the pain every time. Trey Brown says, never been more annoyed with these Hurts narratives. I feel you, Trey Brown. It's very frustrating, but it is what it is. Like E-Rock said, right? We ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. All we got to do is be us, and we're going to be okay. Also, Scotty back again. He says, QB1 is like a Nissan owned by a rich guy. Very reliable. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it. Somebody may take it as disrespect, but I'd much rather call him a Subaru. If we're going to go the plain Jane car route, right? I'd rather call Jalen Hurts a Subaru. Ultra reliable, good in any conditions, lasts super long. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'd probably call him a Subaru owned by a rich guy. Very reliable. But shout out to Scotty. I get the point. He says, at this point, I want QB1 to become the bad guy, to be honest. It's funny, man. Jalen is not really a bad dude, but you can tell that he has a little edge to him. You know what I mean? And then he says, Eagles fans forget that we're literally heels. If you know, you know. He's right. He's right, man. That's just the city we come from. He says LA will have 52 more volunteers after Sunday. Oh, man. I just realized what you meant by that. Oh, man. That's crazy. B Mills with the super chat. Thank you, B Mills. He says, now, only way we beat the Rams is through Saquon Barkley because Jalen can't win with his arm. That's the cap. It's at its most high. Yo, B Mills, you're right, man. Listen, Saquon, don't get it twisted. Saquon Barkley is a key cog in this machine, right? Saquon Barkley is the best player on the team. That goes without saying. He's the most dominant football player on this team, and you want to continue to feed that, right? And Jalen Hurts knows that. That's what I love about Jalen Hurts. He plays with no ego. He understands that Saquon Barkley is the truth, and he wants to lean on that. He trusts his guys. So I feel what you're saying, though, right? You know, Jalen Hurts can win you football games, and he's won football games for the Eagles in the past. So a lot of people want to act brand new about that. Thank you, B Mills. I appreciate it. AJ Jones, my guy, he says Kellen Moore is meeting with Dallas on Friday. I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I don't like these meetings during the playoffs. It's a distraction, and I also think it's designed to test the war of attrition as it pertains to not only your players but your coaching staff. I think it's relatively designed that way. It's designed to challenge these coaches who are in winning situations, who are in the playoffs. They're challenging you to be able to focus on the task at hand, right? And look, just add some context to this, right? Listen, these coaches, eventually they do go home. Right? And I don't think Kellen Moore is going to Dallas. I think he's doing the interview via live chat or via video chat. You feel what I'm saying? I don't think he's going to Dallas. You know, like, I'm sure Kellen Moore is game planning from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., right? And then he'll do his interview later on in the day. Or even if he's game planning from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m., he takes his lunch break, does his interview, then goes back to game planning. I know a lot of people like to say, oh, this can be a distraction, but I'm starting to think that whole distraction interview thing may be a little overrated. I'm starting to think that. Don't get me wrong. I was one of those people who, I'm partially I'm kind of partial when it comes to it, right? It's like I understand what people mean. They don't want you worried about any other team but your own right now because you're in the playoffs. But at the same time, with any job, you have a lunch break or you do go home eventually, right? There is a point where you aren't in the office game planning. And maybe that's the time where he gets his interview done. So, you know, it could be a distraction. It might not be. You know, I don't get mad at people for calling it a distraction, though. I'm not one of those people. You know, I'm never gonna sit here and get mad at people for feeling like it's a distraction because ultimately, in essence, it is. In essence, it is a distraction. But I don't know if it's the biggest distraction that we all think it is. But again, if someone feels like it's a distraction, I would never argue with them or say they're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like my man Sweet Chin Music, right? Sweet Chin Music doesn't like it at all. He says he has 3 interviews before the game, right? You know, he's not the only one with interviews, by the way. A lot of these guys are getting interviews. You know, Kingsbury and things of that nature. So it's so many guys getting interviews right now, but I'm not mad at people who don't like it because I ultimately don't like it either. Ultimately, I don't like it. If I'm being honest with you, I don't like it, but it is what it is, and I'm gonna try. And I'm gonna try my hardest not to let it be something that grinds my gears to no end. Scotty back again with the super chat. He says, "If we lose more, bring Reich, Doug, or Chip as OC." I don't know about Chip. Frank Reich will be interesting because Reich at this point, I think Frank Reich is done being a head coach. I think Frank Reich, and also he's still getting paid from the Colts, by the way. I think Frank Reich is done being a head coach. I would love to have an offensive coordinator that I know is going to be here for a long time. And you know, Frank is an older guy, so he's not going to be looking to jump team to team. He's going to be looking to have some roots somewhere. So, to your point, if we do lose Kellen Moore, I would much rather have Frank Reich in the building. We've seen what he's capable of doing, and things of that nature. So, and also there's a price you pay when you have young staff, right? A lot of these guys, they want to be upwardly mobile in their careers. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it at all. So yeah, man. It's been a great show. It's been a really great show. Once again, I want to give another shout out to my man E-Rock. He was spectacular today. And I'm grateful that he took the time to come onto the platform. One of the biggest personalities in the Eagles sports and Eagles fandom. And he brought that same energy here. So shout out to him as well. And I hope you guys really enjoyed that, right? How did you guys feel about the E-Rock conversation? I want to pick your brain about that. How did you guys feel about E-Rock as a guest? Would you guys want E-Rock to come back on at any point during this playoff run? Just tell me how y'all felt about the conversation because I really enjoyed it. E-Rock gave some a great perspective as when it came to your Philadelphia Eagles, a very grounded perspective. And you guys see him on social media, you guys see him on YouTube, you guys see the work he puts in. He lives for this shit. He breathes this shit. Like it's his lifeblood. So I felt like E-Rock was like the perfect person to bring on, to ground us and to give us more perspective about, leaning into this villain role because he actually disagrees. He actually feel like we don't have to lean into anything. All we have to do is be who we are. All we have to do is do our jobs. And I like that perspective. I like it. I'm such a passionate dude and I can be a heel sometimes. So I'm always absorbing the doubt. I'm always taking in the hate and trying to convert that into energy, right? But his perspective is, listen, we don't need to be anything that we don't need to be. We don't need to be anything people want us to be. All we got to do is do our jobs and trust the product that we put on the field every single week this entire season. And ultimately he's right. Do what we've been doing. Like my man Pro Fan Talk said, do what got you here. Do what we've been doing. Don't change your routine. Don't change what you eat. Don't change, don't do nothing extra. Don't do nothing less. Just keep doing what you've been doing. Take care of your body. You know what I mean? Stick to your keys, focus on your landmarks, dominate your box, do your job, and everything will come together. So, on that note, I tend to do agree with that, right? It's funny, I agree with everything E-Rock said in terms of leaning into who you are, but I like to add a little salsa on it sometimes, right? Sometimes, I'm a keep routine up, but also fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? That's my mindset, right? Yeah, I'm gonna stay on track. I'm not gonna change my habits, but I'm going to embrace the heel. I'm going to embrace being the villain. But that's just me. That's just my personality, though. That's just my personality. But I do think it's true that Eagles fans, the Philadelphia Eagles, we have to fight for everything, the slightest bit of respect. But the reality is, who we got to prove anything to? We ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. That's the reality. We ain't got to prove nothing to nobody, man. So let's see what you guys had to say about the E-Rock conversation. Let's see. Flexing and Stepper said, good shit, Tone. Flexing says, W show. Trey Lusado says, he says E-Rock is a cool guy. Let's see. Anthony Chop says E-Rock is awesome. Jaime Lopez says, this is my first time hearing him talking. It was awesome. He made me a fan. Scotty says, you and E-Rock should go live in the middle of the tailgate. That would be legendary. Yeah, E-Rock is the man. Miss Fanny, she said, back to work I go. Laura Vaughn says, E-Rock, a.k.a. Eugene. Chris Scott says, I love E-Rock. JJ Irvin says, I feel E-Rock on the villain perspective. Laura Vaughn says, or JJ Irvin. Yeah, JJ Irvin says, I feel E-Rock on a villain perspective. Lord Vaughn says, we want to do special shit. Sirianni says, yes, you're right. You're right, man. On Lee, Nafili says, did Shane Steichen get hired somewhere else? I think Shane Steichen is still the head coach of the Colts right now. I don't know if they fired him or not. I don't know about that. That's one thing I don't know. But yeah, man. Brian Singleton. Brian Singleton says W, Tone, and E-Rock. I love it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let me get to the rest of these super chats real quick. Let me see what we got here. Scotty came back with it. He says, I think if we fire Nick, Ben Johnson will choose us. Well, I don't think Nick's not getting fired. Nick's not getting fired, you guys. So we might as well move off of that. He's not getting fired. Be more with the $5 super chat. He says, Tone, QB1 won the last game with his arm. Numbers that count. 2 touchdowns. Pass attempts received. Oh, Shane is available for the OC job. He is? Are you serious? Did Shane Steichen really get let go? Are you serious right now? Are you guys serious? No, it says here Shane Steichen's coming back. It says here Shane Steichen's coming back. He already hired. It says here Shane Steichen is in the process of searching for his new defensive coordinator. So it says here Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard are coming back. So yeah, that's not the case here. Shane Steichen isn't going anywhere. He's staying in Indianapolis, even though we know their owner can be hyperbolic and overzealous and impulsive and an addict. But regardless, though, yeah, he's not going anywhere as of right now. He's staying. Let's see here. Dark Matters. He says, yo, so now Rams are world beaters? Get the F out of here. Yo, I feel you, bro. Like all of a sudden the Rams are this team to beat. And it's so funny to me how people do whatever it takes to try to spin a narrative. Listen, the Rams are who they are, right? And we've played them before. We watched them play on Monday. And honestly, I feel like that the Vikings were more bad than the Rams were good. That's just my opinion, though. I feel like the Vikings were more bad than the Rams were good. Now, granted, the Rams defense, did some great things, right? They got 9 sacks, forced 2 turnovers. They did a great job. But what they did against the Vikings is not going to fly in Philadelphia. It's not. They were playing on that turf. It's universally known that on turf, it makes you quicker, right? It's easier to run. Like it's easier to run on that smooth turf. You feel what I'm saying? But now they got to come to Philly, the ice cold grass, soil. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be as simple or as easy as it was against the Vikings. It's really not. It's really not. Sam Darnold made it so easy for those guys. And honestly, if you really pay attention to those sacks, he was in the pocket forever. All he had to do was either throw the ball away. He didn't have to take those sacks. A lot of those sacks were like just him just not letting the ball go. And yes, Jalen Hurts does hold onto the ball, but Jalen Hurts is not taking 9 sacks. He's not taking 9 sacks. He's not turning the ball over twice. He's not going to do that. So the Rams were given so many opportunities. And on top of that, like K. Ordick said, the Rams offense only scored 20 points. Their defense had a scoop and score touchdown. Their offense only scored 20 points. I personally feel like the Vikings defense played well enough to win that game. Their offense, their quarterback in particular, underperformed. I believe the Vikings played well enough to win that game. The defense, that is. I even think the Green Bay Packers defense played well enough to beat us. But the difference was the quarterback position. And again, we've heard this song before, right? We played this song before when it comes to the Rams. We know what they are. We know what they do. And we're so talented on offense and dominant. Talent meets talent, every day of the week. But as far as Jeff Stoutland and our running game and what we do and just how dominant we are in the trenches, Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, Byron Young, is it Byron Young? Braden Fisk, they're not going to be able to dominate the point of attack consistently. They may have their moment. They may get a sack or two, right? It's football. They may get a sack or two, but they're not going to dominate the line of scrimmage. Last time we played the Rams, our defense forced a turnover on Kyron Williams. He fumbled. We sacked Matthew Stafford 5 times. And we held their running game in total to about 90 yards. We held Kyron Williams to like under 75 yards rushing. Like, we dominated the trenches on both sides of the football. And I'm telling you, as good as Matthew Stafford is, as good as Puka Nacua is, for 4 quarters, they're not going to be able to do what they want to do consistently. They're not. We're going to dictate the terms of engagement. We're going to dictate the flow of this game. We're going to have the energy of the city behind us because we're going to be in Lincoln Financial Field. Sure, the Rams are playing for LA. LA is going through a lot right now. And I send my prayers, send my love and my condolences to people who've lost everything, family members, their homes, their jobs, their pets, family heirlooms. I send my condolences to those people. I really, really do. I send my prayers and my love to those people. It's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. The game being at Lincoln Financial Field is going to be tough for the Rams. It's going to be tough. Unfortunately, they got the short end of the stick with the travel, and it's going to be tough. And with the way the Eagles play, they're going to out-physical the Rams. They're going to wear them down. And we're going to see what that travel fatigue looks like. We're going to see if they can measure up. I promise you. When you're going up against Lane Johnson, Mekhi Becton, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Jordan Mailata consistently, you get worn down. You get tired. Those are some big dudes, and they wear you down. Ellen Small, thank you for the super chat. She says Rams can't run cover 4 because there's no roof. But the Eagles can soar above the stadium. Fly, Eagles, fly. Oh, Rams can't run for cover. Sorry about that. She said the Rams can't run for cover because there's no roof, but the Eagles can soar above the stadium. Fly, Eagles, fly. You're right about that, Ellen. You're right. You know, like this environment, this environment is much more conducive to our success than their success. Quite frankly. Quite frankly, that's the reality. But that's pretty much going to be it for today's show, you guys. Thank you so much for locking in the way you guys have. I want to give another shout out. I want to give another I'm going to give more words of appreciation to E-Rock for taking the time out to come onto the platform. He is a very prominent figure in the Eagles stratosphere, and I appreciate him for being a guest on Chalk It Up Sports. And I appreciate you guys for being great guests or great host to E-Rock. I appreciate you guys for being great supporters of Chalk It Up Sports. It goes without saying. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. And I just want to remind you guys of something. Okay? We are the bullies. We dictate the terms of engagement. We are the ones that get it popping in the city. You feel what I'm saying? Nobody's coming to Philly and dominating us. None of them. Nobody's coming to Philly and taking over our track. You feel what I'm saying? So I need y'all to exercise your right. Turn up on these dudes. Puff your chest out. You've earned it. You've earned it. You've invested time and equity into this product. Those Eagles players have invested their blood, sweat, and tears into this product. We know what we have. All we got to do is go out there and execute. And it's straight like that. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys lock in on Spotify, lock in on Apple. Give me a great review on there. It means a lot to me. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the content. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on a special edition of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.